Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Heartbroken and Housebroken podcast. I'm your host, Spiro. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, I know it's been a couple weeks. I'm trying to stay on the schedule, but now I will stay on the schedule. Praxis exams are done. I did 5 of those bad boys in 6 days. 5 Praxis exams. Praxis, I can't even say it still to this day. I'm still brain dead. Crammed for studying, and now I'm brain dead. But thank you for tuning back in. I know it's been a couple weeks. If you haven't followed me already, at Spiro and That Show, on Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. If you guys are listening to the podcast, we are on YouTube for the video version and Spotify for the audio version. Thank you so much to everyone that's joined in, all the new followers, all the new listeners. If you guys are in Vegas this week, I will be at the LA Comedy Club today through Sunday. So Tuesday through Sunday. July 27th will be the last day I'm there. I'm on the 8 o'clock show. I'm featuring all week with the hilarious Nick Guerra. We had a show last night for Monday. It was off the chain good. It's always fun doing these full weeks because a lot of times with comedy on weekends you do like maybe 4 shows, maybe 5 shows in like a 3 or 4 day span, where this is like a 7-day span. So you really get to kind of test things out, draw things out, see how it works with one audience, test it with another audience, and then really prepare for the weekend shows. But if this week is anything like a Monday show, we are going to have a banger of a week. So if you guys are in Vegas, hit me up. I'll get you on the guest list. Then I will be in Denver on July 28th at Comedy Works for Thick Skin. I'm doing the amazing show there. It is like one of those shows that everybody talks about. Comedy Works is an amazing club. I've been there once before. Super excited for that. And then in Vegas, back on the 30th, we have Jokes and Fire at Smoke and Fire. As always, I got the hookup with tickets for that. Come eat some blueberry chicken sliders with us. It got me, Liz Stone, Kay Banks, Melissa Diaz, Steven Roberts, and Skills Hudson on that show. So we got a great local lineup for you guys. So come spend some time with us, see some comedy if you want. God, I'm so brain dead from those tests. I studied so hard. And like, obviously I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you, Spiro. You are so good at studying. But you don't realize, like, when you go through crazy amounts of grief and, like, these crazy things that happen to you, that you don't think things are going to go your way all the time. You know, you always have this doubt in your mind. Again, when Sarah was alive, we were very, like, optimistic. We thought, like, hey, it's just going to get better. It's going to get better. And if it got worse, we're just like, don't worry. It gets worse before it gets better. And then she passed, and then my dad passed, and, you know, the next couple of years, there's some ups and downs, but you always expect the worst to happen because you had essentially the worst happen to 2 of the people that you care about. And that's how it was studying for these tests. Like, the amount of stress I was under and the pressure I put on myself. Boy, I felt like I was like some like USSR, like my old USSR Russian hockey coach yelling at me. Be like, you must study or you'll never be loved by nobody. If you do not get good grade on Praxis exam, you will never have any love. You will never be a smart person if you cannot pass basic math and basic English. But I did. I got 3. I got 3 of my scores back. Passed 3. Still waiting on 2 because it's more written. So they got to grade that shit. But it's crazy because your brain literally, like, while going through these things and while studying and while learning and teaching myself and, like, going through the basics of, like, these fundamental, like, English, you know, grammar, math, like, fundamentals to teaching. Like, when you're going through all this and you're studying and you're preparing, like, my mind used to be super sharp. Like, I used to be able to absorb everything. You'd say it to me once, absorbed. You'd be able to, like, rattle off a couple numbers, bang, 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 boom. I can. And you realize when you go through this trauma, this grief, that your brain fucking changes. And I know there's people here that are like, yeah, duh. But it's crazy. And it's like things, I talk about it a lot where it's things you don't even realize, like everybody knows like the real things that happen when you're grieving. You're like, and you're going through this, like you're sad, you're crying, you're going through depression, you're questioning life, you're questioning choices, you're regretful, all these emotions, all these range, you're angry, you're hopeful, you're all these angries, you're all these emotions, you're this huge range of emotions, but you don't think about like the physical stuff that it does to you. I talked a lot about last week 2 weeks ago, yoga, massage. Boy, when I do yoga, I did yoga last week. And when I tell you, like, I was stretching and then like some shit came out. I was like, I don't even remember these things. It's like someone be like, hey, have you seen this movie? And you're like, I've seen this movie. And then they play it and you're like, I don't remember any of this fucking movie. Like Wayne's World, you're like, I loved Wayne's World when I was a kid. And then you watch it now and you're like, I was watching that when I was a kid? Short Circuit with Johnny Five. Oh my God, loved that shit when I was a child. Watch it now, you're like, what the fuck was I watching back then? You look back, it's funny the things that like you don't remember in life, but you just like suddenly remember. I remember once my dad was telling me this story, like it was a couple months before he passed. It was after Sarah passed, so I was going through a really hard time and I was doing edibles, and my dad did not know I did edibles. He probably would go nuts if he found out I did edibles. But I took an edible because I was just in a really depressed state. I wanted to watch a movie. He went to bed. I was over at his house because he wanted to like keep an eye on me and make sure I was okay. And then he came downstairs because he forgot to make dinner while my edible's kicking. So now I'm have to be like, what do I do? Like, do I admit to him that like I'm super depressed and I took an edible to get through my depression? Or do I try to get through it without letting him know? Long story boring, I tried my hardest. And I don't think he knew. I don't think he caught on. But he started telling me this story about how somebody I played hockey with, their uncle was our trainer, and he was an actively recovering heroin addict. And I was like, we were 13 years old and our trainer was actively recovering from heroin, and you guys were just like, yep. Fix the kids. Oh, he's got a broken wrist? Yeah, get old Mickey Blue Boots over there. Why do they call him Mickey Blue Boots? He doesn't have any shoes. His feet are always cold from the heroin. I don't know if that's true, but it's why. I mean, that was insane when he told me that. I was like, this gotta be the edible talking. I don't remember any of this shit. And then he confirmed it the next day. I was like, were we talking about this? Like, was I dreaming? But it's crazy how like you just don't remember very vivid things of your life. And then when you have something like traumatic or like very grief heavy happens to you, your body and your mind really shut shit out. It's cuckoo bananas. It is cuckoo bananas. I forgot where I was going with all this. Welcome to the Heartbroken and Housebroken podcast, where Spiro goes on a tangent and forgets what he's talking about, which was kind of in the theme of being like grief really kind of fucks you up because you forget what you're doing. And then I ring it back in and be like, I was talking about taking my tests and studying. But yeah, it really changes your mindset on things. You know, like I'm studying for like reading. I'm just reading passages and it's like, what's the main idea of the passage? And I'm literally stressed out because I'm like, what if I don't know what main ideas are anymore? What if I can't read anymore? What if I don't know? And it's all this like heavy, like your head is so clouded. You know, you're like trying to read text and you're like, I don't know what this is saying. There's a who, the what, and the when, and the why, and the where. And that's what grief does. It really kind of, it alters you in a way to make you feel so unbalanced, you know, not yourself. Little cuckoo bananas, as somebody once said a couple minutes ago on the podcast. You know, and it's one of those things where you really just kind of have to push through it. You have to have faith in yourself that you're like, I know who I am. I know who I was. I'm not who I used to be. I'll never be who I used to be, but I can get my mind back to where I was. I can remember these things. I can absorb things. And sometimes you just have to do things different. Like before, when I used to study, I could like read a couple things, boom. Now I have to like really go over it a lot. I have to take long breaks. I have to sleep. You know, when you're young, I'm like drinking Diet Coke, eating pizza, looking at it 2 minutes before the test, passing that shit, no problem. And now I'm old and wounded and mentally fragile, and I got to study. But it was also cool because I'm seeing the success from the trials. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing when you experience a loss like that, is you're trying to find like these like tent poles of success. Be like, what can prop me up? What can scaffold me to get to a better place? You know, like still acknowledging what's going on, still working through what's going on, but how do I get to an even better place and become a better person? And these are kind of like those hard lessons where you're mentally exhausted, you're pushed, you're like, I'm not going to do well. Like, there's no way I can do this. And then you just hunker down and you're like, motherfucker, I'm doing this. So you're not alone if you're struggling out there. You're not alone if you're having difficulty with whatever you're doing. It's grief, it's trauma. You got this. Just got to keep pushing through, and you got to keep being positive. As cringy and as corny as it sounds, you got to be positive. You got to stay positive. I hate it. I hate staying positive. You know, everyone's like, stay positive. Sometimes it's hard to stay positive. You know, you see people be like, oh, my grandmother just survived cancer. Everybody tell her congratulations. It's like, fuck your grandma. Your grandma's old as fuck. Why did my wife die from cancer? Why did your grandma live? Doesn't make sense to me, bitch. But you got to stay positive. You got to be like, you know, it was her time and I have to grow from it and don't know what the plan is for me. And I got to keep moving forward and blah, blah, blah. And that grandma's got $11 checks that she's got to keep writing. You know, she's not time to cash out at the big bank in the sky. But you got to think positive. You got to think positive. You got to know that wherever you're going is going to be a great place because you've gone through the hardest shit that you can possibly go through. You know? Been doing a lot of shows too, which has been good. Like, I've been getting back into comedy after taking these couple breaks, and it's been nice. And I've been working the Widow stuff, but I've been doing other fun stuff. I think that's been something that I've been having fun exploring, is because when I first started doing comedy after Sarah passed, like, I was still trying to do that old material that like, and then I try to like really work on the Widow stuff because it was important to me. It is important to me. And like, it's still growing, but it's like in a good spot. And now I'm like trying to find my voice with other things. Like, how can I make other things funny that relate to my life with still being true to me and who I am now? You know, that's the thing about grief and trauma, is it's never a complete process. Like, you're never done. I always joke with my therapist. I'm like, thank you for everything. I'll leave a great Yelp review. We're done. She's like, how about next week? And I'm like, fine. Thought I got away from you. But it's been positive, man. I've been having a lot of fun, and I've been in a really good place, and school starts soon. So I love you guys, and I love all of you guys for tuning in. This is going to be a pretty short positive episode because I'm feeling it and I'm feeling good. But if you guys haven't already, please follow me on social media. Tune in, subscribe. More episodes, more episodes are coming your way. Can't even fucking speak right now. More episodes are coming your way. If you guys want to check me out again, LA Comedy Club all week long, Jokes and Fire, and then Denver on July 28th. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there. Stay cool if you're in a hot place like Vegas. And this has been Spiro. I'll see you next time.